Out. Okay, great. So I'm just going to start the Facebook and I'm going to introduce you. And I don't really ask a lot of questions. I like to let you just share your story. Okay, so we are almost there.
Okay, can everyone hear me now, right?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. I just want to make, because the other one, no one said if they could hear me or now.
I can
Oh,
hear you.
I
I can
know,
hear
but
you.
who would? Okay, I know. I had to dial in on my phone,
oh, that's what that. Oh, okay.
so that's why you see me kind of twice. Let me take
Oh,
myself off of video though.
oh, you're not going to be on video. Okay.
Well, I'll be on video here, but not on my phone.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I think we are okay. All right. So we can go now. I'll be setting up the Instagram as soon as it's finishing downloading. Okay, so hello. This is week 181 of Transformation Thursday. Hello, hello, hello. This is a really exciting week because we have a longtime viewer and participant who is this week's speaker. And many of you know her and saw the Facebook comic like, yay, Jacqueline. So let us get right into this. Miss Jacqueline Christmas is going to speak on her journey, Christianity to consciousness. So just take it away. Well, let me introduce you. This is Miss Jacqueline Christmas, formerly Westchester County, now a Brooklyn resident. And we've definitely had the pleasure of knowing her. She's sharing her awesome, inspiring story of evolution. So I'm pleased to have her share her story with you this evening. And Miss Jacqueline, take it away.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Can everyone hear me well?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I didn't want this to be like a bash on Christianity, because the Christ energy is powerful, and it's something that we you know that is here, is still the energy. But the Christianity is coming from that to where I am now is totally um a different consciousness. And it took going through Christianity and other things in order to get to this place. So I got saved when I was about 25 years old. Long story on how that all happened. And I got married right after that. And my ex-husband and I would pray every day. We would get up early and pray for an hour. So I was really involved in Christianity. It wasn't where I was one of those kind of Christians that went to church every now and then. I had my own Bible study. I went to church 3 times a week. And then I would do like a street witnessing. We would go door to door in Connecticut. I lived in Brooklyn. I worked in Manhattan, and then every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I would take the train all the way to Connecticut to go to church. And people would think that was like absolutely mad, but I felt that this is what I was supposed to do. It was like a teaching church, so it wasn't a lot of what Black people would normally go to. A very I won't say it wasn't spiritual. It was definitely spiritual, but it was more of teaching. So you had to know the Bible, you had to read, you had to pray. It wasn't where you just listen to the pastor and that's it. You really had to get into your Bible. So that means you had to be versed in scripture. I read the Bible twice, something that I did on my own, and a lot of people in the church did that as well. Um, One of the reasons why I left the church, I would say, it wasn't all at once. So I was going to church, I was still seeking something, didn't quite know what it was. And I remember speaking to God and saying, like this can't be it. This me, involved in church, you know, I went to conferences in Oklahoma. I was just so just deeply involved. I would I had a Bible study. I would lay hands on people to be healing. I mean, I was really involved, but still, it wasn't enough. It still wasn't what I knew it should be. I would minister. I was in the choir. I oversaw children's ministry. Um, but one of the things I realized in Christianity was like, you could never do enough. And you always had this guilt and fear. You couldn't pray enough. You didn't fast enough. You didn't give enough. And you always had this thing, well, this didn't happen for you because you didn't pray enough or you didn't read the Bible enough. So it was always this fear and guilt. And, you know, that made me feel like this can't be. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm doing things, but am I here just to do this? And I remember people say, oh, you're here just to serve God. That's it. That is what you're supposed to be doing. That's it. And I knew that that wasn't right, that I'm just not here just to serve God. That's absolutely not. I mean, in the way the world is, you would look, you say all these different things that the world needs, that they need in the natural. It is our responsibility, our mission to fulfill those things. So I knew that there was something, but I couldn't figure out what it was. Um, I believe that each of us, um, at times, the universe is nudging us. Different things happen and we can't figure out why it's happening. I believe that it is nudging us. And a situation happened to me where I wasn't asleep. I was awake, but I wasn't fully awake. And I had this real loud noise. Well, it wasn't noise, it was someone speaking, and it said, "Wake up." And I was like, I'm up. I asked my ex-husband. He said, I didn't hear anything. And I realized it was on the inside of me. Even though I was doing all these different things, I was still asleep. I was still not aware. I was still not conscious of what my mission here was to do. So before I went to Georgia, I wound up moving to Georgia with my family and my children. And before I left, I remember saying to God, like, I need you to do something. And God is a big guy. He's not afraid of me asking and questioning him. And, people are like, oh, you can't talk to God like that. Yeah. If if he's creator of the universe, not he, but if that's the creator of the universe, the deities are afraid that Jacqueline is going to, for some way, be, uh, that I'm some way going to talk down to God because I'm asking questions. And I realized that that is not, that's what we're taught, but that's not the truth. And so I kept seeking. And I had a childhood friend. Um, we kind of grew up together, lost track of her, different situations happened. And me and my sister would go on her Facebook page and like laugh, like, what is going on? She's talking about witches and deities and crystals and all this stuff. And we would just be like, there is something going on. Well, something's wrong. And so I kept peeping it and peeping her page and looking. And I realized I was being drawn to something different than what I was used to. Because if you know, I think everyone can say that they know that situations happen. They don't understand why this happened and that happened. It's because the universe wants us to know who we are. And I think that's one of the things that I didn't get for Christianity. It was we all lumped in together as Christians. That's it. It wasn't where what was Jackie? What was Jackie's role here? Why was Jackie here? And so that was one of the things that I had to find out. Um, and I think there's a lot of different things that when you are a Christian, like when I was a Christian, you couldn't talk about certain things because that was like the devil. Rituals, they would talk about, all these people, they're into rituals, but Christianity is into rituals. Rituals is just, something that you do religiously consistently. Passover, when they say, you breaking the bread, you eat the bread and drink of his blood. That's a ritual. So, we're so consumed with what Hollywood and what other people say, but we never take the time to really figure out what is this thing that people are talking about, this African spirituality, this knowing about my astrology and my numerology. What is it exactly about? We just automatically say that it's wrong instead of asking someone or checking our for ourselves, because I went to a teaching church. Everything that I got involved in, I had to deeply understand it. So I had to, no one can just tell me this is the way it was and that's it. No, I'm going to have to dig deep and figure out if this is true, because I'm sorry, I just have always been, I just don't trust people. I have to know for myself that this is real. So one of the things I would say was rituals. Another thing I would say is astrology. And I was not the one to follow astrology and believe it, but it doesn't matter if you believe in astrology or not. It's still the truth, because, astrology is science. You can't say it's not real. It is real. I mean, even in the Bible, the wise men, they followed the stars. So for us to say that this is, wrong, it's again, we are listening to what people are saying outside of us and not asking what's happening on inside. Let me go into myself. And that, I have like a list of different things, but meditation was one of the things that really changed everything for me, to meditate, because I heard so many different things about meditation. I was so afraid, and I realized that praying is talking, but meditation is listening. And how are you going to know what your soul mission is if you're not listening? You know, and that's one of the biggest things. You got to pray. You got to pray. You got to pray. Without ceasing. You got to pray. You got to pray. But when are you going to be listening? That's, to me, the most important thing is, I want to know, and for me to know, I got to keep my mouth shut and listen. And so that was one of the biggest things that I learned from the difference between Christianity and consciousness, was they're teaching you how to meditate. And then, as I'm going through all these different things that I'm learning, something in me is saying, oh yeah, this makes sense. Like, yeah, I understand this. Another thing is numerology. I mean, this life is all about numbers, and the Bible is all about numbers. They talk about the amount of tribes. You talk about this, certain amount of disciples. All those different things are not by chance; they're by design. Now, there's a book in the Bible called Numbers, and they call it Numbers because what they do is it's a book that talks statistics about tribes and different ancestors. So again, it's in the Bible. Does anybody have any questions so far? Just continue to go on.
Not at all.
Okay.
Continue.
No,
Um,
continue.
Another one was talking to your ancestors. And that one for me was sort of scary. And I remember my grandmother passed away, and she had dementia. And she would come over to the house, and she would kind of go in and out of dementia. But one time, was when I lived in Georgia. She came into my room and she saw all her bed and her dresser. And at the time, she was living in a what do you call it? Like a not a home, but a place where I
Assisted
forgot the
living.
name. Assisted living. That's it. Thank you. And so she wasn't at home anymore. So I took her furniture. And so she would go in and out of understanding. And she was like, you have my furniture. I was like, oh my goodness. And so I don't know, it was a year or so later. That was Thanksgiving of maybe a year or two later, she passed away. And I remember that morning when I found out that she passed away, I had a conversation with her. And I said, Grandma, I'm sorry that I have your furniture, but you couldn't use it anymore. And we needed a bed and a dresser. I was having like a real conversation, and I didn't feel any kind of way. And at the time, I was still a Christian, but God didn't strike me down. The devil didn't come and get me. None of that happened. And that was again, another introduction into um, the universe bringing me to my consciousness. Um, Dreams and visions. Joel 2:28 says that um, the young women will dream dreams, and boys will have visions. Again, this is what spirituality is going to bring you to. So I'm still digging. I'm still pushing through and learning about my African spirituality. I went to a retreat with a girlfriend of mine, the same girlfriend that I used to peep her Facebook page. We went to a retreat, and I learned about giving gifts to my African deities. I started to get to know that we as African people, we were the first people. And of course, we knew God before anyone knew God. And for us to have to go back to sit back and have somebody give us something that is not ours, it to me is so very sad. But African spirituality, that's us. That's where we came from. That's our understanding of the universe. And I'm grateful for the people um, in that the universe put in my path to bring me to the place here where I know that I have a soul mission. So in that retreat, my girlfriend, she was like, I think you should check out this particular deity. And I was like, oh, so I got home, I started doing research. And, again, that's just how I have to do it myself. I have to do a research. We talked about it. And then I went to my ancestors, and I went into meditation, and they gave me the name of my business. Um, and I'm going to now be a doula. And the particular deity is a goddess, the mother of children, of babies. And so it was like this, it was providing steps as I meditate, as I go into myself, not relying on things outside of me, but into myself. And I think that we lost that. We are sitting here believing that things on the outside of us is going to tell us who we are on the inside. And that is so far from the truth. I mean, if you watch The Matrix, you think about a particular time when he went to see the Oracle, and she was like, "Oh, are you the one?" Like, she wasn't going to tell him that he was the one. She's asking, do you not know who you are? Do you not know who you are? And he had to find out who he was himself in order for him to do all the things that he was sent to do. He had to find out for himself. And so we have to stop as people, especially African people, to stop looking for things on the outside of us and realize that everything that we need is on the inside of us. So again, because I have to, go to school, I was I don't know how I found this woman, but I must have found her 2 years ago. So I was happened to watch her on a video on YouTube, and she was talking about astrology and meditation, and everything I was learning for myself. But I needed more. It just wasn't enough. So I went into my own inbox, and I put her name in there, and I realized that I had found her 2 or 3 years prior, and I didn't even know. So I kept watching her, kept following her. And she said she had a university, a Spiritual Ascension University, that will teach you how to find out what your soul mission is. It's not just about teaching you how to do numerology and astrology, but it's actually teaching you, why are you here? And telling you that she's not going to tell you why you're here. You have to go to use those spiritual gifts. You have to go to meditation. You have to go and speak to your ancestors, because people might not know, but you know, this is not the first time each individual of us have been here. We've been here in our past life. And I know that's like, for certain people, it's just too much. But we've been here before. And it a lot of these things at first to me was like, what is this? But inside of me, it clicked, like, this is the way it is supposed to be. Like, who told us that we're not powerful enough? Why did we listen that we're not strong enough? Why are we listening to those people that are telling us this? We have to look on the inside. And if each one of us will look to the inside, you will find out that you are powerful. You do have magic. And you don't have to rely on things on the outside of you, but know that your ancestors are here for you. The deities are here for you. The universe is here for you. All those things are tools for you to find, to be successful, to be abundant, to find out what your soul mission is. It's not really you looking for the pastor or some reverend or any person on the outside of you. I remember when someone said to me, oh, God has a word for you. And I'm like, but he didn't tell me nothing. So he's not talking to me? Like, I, I don't understand that. No, he wants to talk to me. He wants to hear from me, and he wants me to. So when I was a Christian, I would say these things. So now, it's where I am now in the conscious, like, absolutely, the universe wants me to know what's happening. Of course, that Mama Universe wants to know uh uh what how I'm going to manifest this soul mission. They want to help me be all that I need to be on this on and until it's time for me to ascend. And that was just like amazing for me to know that. And I I'm still on the journey. It's a forever journey, because I know what my soul mission is. I'm in school. I found a great program, and even how that happened was, again, the universe. So it was a particular little girl I used to teach in children's church, and she's a grown woman now. With she just had a baby, so I was on her page. I asked her to be my friend on Facebook. I went on her page, and I saw she was having a baby, so I decided to give to her registry. And I kept going on her page and looking, and there was a program to be a doula. And now I tried to be and get involved in a program maybe a year and a half ago. I met a wonderful young lady, and but I tried to send her money through Zelle, and it kept bouncing back. Because I tried 3 times and it kept bouncing back. I was like, okay, the universe this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. This is not the person. This is not what I'm supposed to be doing. And so I just waited. And what I really think is the universe wanted me to be able to understand my tools and who I was before I did that. Who is Jackie before Jackie was going to go and be a doula. So it was, the universe is always there for us. The ancestors, I talk to my grandmother all the time. um I do it early in the morning. I wake up and talk to her, but sometime during the day I just talk to her. I found out that my great grandmother, on my father's side, was a midwife. My great grandmother on my mother's side was a midwife. So I knew that that was the universe telling me this is the path that I'm supposed to be going toward. And so, you keep, the universe will keep, you know, putting things in your path, will keep talking to people, talking to you, sometimes through other people. But like for me, even though I saw other things, nobody actually said, "Hey, Jackie, this is what you should try this." Oh, Jackie, you should try this after spirituality. No one ever came to me and said that. No one. I just looked, and I recognized it in my spirit, like this is right. Um, and I just went for it. And that's my journey. Does anyone have any questions?
No, no, I'm just loving
No,
this.
not any questions. My well, that has always been my issue, trying to find out who I am, what I am, and to meditate is difficult for me because I think that I'm always constantly thinking, and not listening is difficult for me to just sit and listen. And
Right.
what would you suggest would be a good way to even to start slow so that I can get into a space where I can calm my thoughts and just listen?
Okay. So the whole idea of calming your thoughts is a misnomer. Okay. Because they're
Okay.
not going to happen, and you don't really want it to happen, because your thoughts is what your team, your spiritual team, your ancestors are talking to you.
Hmm.
So what I do is, if I'm talking, if I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot to take the meat out the refrigerator, out the freezer. So you know what I do is, I take that, I forgot to take the meat out of the refrigerator. In my mind, I put it in a basket, I take it to the water, and I let it go. And I keep doing that. Every situation, every thought that comes, I take it to the water, and I visualize myself writing it on a piece of paper, putting it in a basket, and taking it to the water. Because I'm telling you, that was my biggest issue, is I could not meditate because my mind was running.
Hmm.
And when I went to, meditation class, she brought that up, and she told, different things to do. And right now, I don't have that issue at all. I could sit there, as soon as I close my eyes, I'm in meditation. What I do is, I get those earplugs and put it in my ear. I get the ones that are kind of soft and sticky, not those spongy ones, because they don't work. This
Hmm.
is kind of sticky. I put them in my ear, and I put a what are those eye patches that people put on their eyes to cover so they can't see the light?
Yeah.
I put those over my eyes. And if you're a person that needs music, I would do something like, there's like Native American flute with water. I do it with water. Some people can't do it with water. But there's different kinds. But there's an African flutist that I listen to, Native American or African one, and I just listen to that to kind of calm me down. And it's something that you're going to continuously do. Is you As you continue to do it, it just becomes easier and easier and easier. And just know that the ancestors are listening. Don't even think that they're not listening, because they are. They're listening right now. So they're always listening to you. So for is you never have to even wonder if they're not, because they are. So as you continue to get up, I get up between 3 and 5. Some might get up at 4, but between those hours, because that's the time when it's really silent, even outside. I mean, especially living in New York, it's like car. As soon as you get like 5:15, you hear the cars and beeping and all that. So I do it like 3, right before 5. I mean, sometimes when you put those things cover your eyes, you're gonna start to see all kind of lights and colors. Just let it go. Let those. Don't try to do anything. Just relax yourself and let it go. And just keep taking your step to a one, and keep
Okay.
doing it, and don't give up. If you don't hear anything the first, and make sure you have a pad and pencil, because they're
Okay.
going to say things to you, and you want to be able to write it down. If you can't remember to write it down, then get a recorder. Like I have a recorder on my phone, it's called recorder, and I just record it. But to me, it's easier to write it down, because I don't want to get out of that zone, so I'll just write it down. It's the same way with dreams. We dream, and sometimes we can't remember. Get your phone, if you can't write it out, because it's dark in your room or whatever. put your recorder on before you go to bed, pick it up and just record what you dreamt about. So that you, because your dreams, none of these dreams that we have are by chance. They are all for a reason. You know, make sure you're not watching anything too late that's too crazy, you know,
Mm-hmm.
too scary or something like that. But other than that, your dreams are for real. They're not by chance. They're not just some figment of your imagination. They all have meanings. Those are the things that I learned. You know, that we had a class in my university on dream decoding, how to decode your dreams, and that was like the most sought after class because everybody dreams. And you know, you
Right.
might find out that some people don't dream in color. Everybody doesn't dream in color.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what? They don't dream in color? That was like so weird to me because I've always
Mm-hmm.
dreamt in color. And some people don't even dream at all.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's a blessing, the fact that you even dream, because a lot of people do not dream. Um, but yeah, meditation, I would say, is probably one of the hardest things. And you know, astrology is not easy. This thing that you hear, oh, this is what, you know, Capricorn, this, I'm just a Capricorn. No, you are every sign, you encompass all of that. But because your sun might be in something else that's just more powerful, more energy in that, but you are all of them inside of you because it depends on the house and it depends on the planetary. It's just all those different things that we have been taught that isn't real. So you mean that all these planets, what are they up here for? What are they there for? I mean,
Right.
come on. They're there for a reason because
Jack,
we haven't
Jack,
been taught. Yes.
sorry, Jack, it's Mel. Quick
Hey,
question. Hi, darling.
yes.
Just want to go back to a little bit. Sorry, I was trying to get in and I didn't want to interrupt you. Can we go back to the meditation part? What's your thoughts on guided meditation?
I don't want anybody in my meditation. Okay, but if you're starting it, if that's the only way you feel that you can start, I wouldn't say no. But that's, you're hearing somebody else, and I want to hear the ancestors. I want to hear the deities talk to me. I can't hear them when you're talking. You know
But
what I
I
mean?
think,
But if you feel
okay,
that that's what's going to get you to a beginning place, because I'm gonna tell you, I did meditate. I did on my normal I did guided meditation. It was good for me for my mental health.
yeah,
So
because I think there's different reasons for meditation, right? It's not a one
yes,
stop. So the meditation that you're speaking of, you're trying to receive a download. Um, and some of us receive downloads all day long without it. Does that
yes,
make sense?
I have. Yeah, I
Right.
have definitely received it all day before, but that's a time when it's, you know, early in the morning when it's so quiet
Mm-hmm.
in the universe, and usually here on earth is quiet. But you know, guided meditation is, again, is is someone else um guiding you. And I'm learning is that I can do this myself. And I'm
No, yes.
learning more and more that it's not the things that I need to do what I have to do is not only outside of me, but it's on the inside of me. And I'm not saying, because I'm telling you, I did guided meditation for years and I loved it. It helped my mental health. I had a particular one I used to use, an app, and it
Mm-hmm.
was Black women people, Black women and a Asian woman who opened it, who started it, and they were amazing. But just think about it. If you're sitting there having a conversation with, and three people are talking, you can't hear one of those people, you can't hear, right? So that's the same way is when I do my meditation, I'm hearing something directly to me that I want to hear. And I might not be channeling per se. I could just be hearing from my ancestors. Yeah, I could be channeling, but I may not be channeling. I just want to hear, like, I need to know what to do. Like, when they gave me the name of my business, you know, that was something like, you know, I didn't have to Google, like, what should I name my business? The ancestors just gave it to me. And I don't know if I would have gotten that information if I would have just got a meditation.
No, what I'm saying is, I don't think in my opinion, I don't think that one negates or better than the other. I think they serve two completely
Yes,
different purposes, is what my point is.
yes,
So
I agree.
so where I am spiritually, I don't necessarily need to sit and to carve out a time to listen to the ancestors, because they're always talking to me all the time. As a matter of fact, they're quite annoying, right? And I'm like, listen, I don't have time or the space to shut the heck up. But the guided meditation, which is a completely different benefit, I think, what's been my experience and my practice, that the guided meditation, to your point, calms you down, calms your
Right,
nerves, calms your
right,
anxiety,
right.
create space so that you have mental clarity. Because the truth of the matter is, without the mental clarity, it's very difficult to hear from the ancestors. That's been my experience. I don't know if anyone else has been challenged with that, but the way my mental state has been set up, I can't hear anything if I don't calm down the noise.
Mm-hmm,
And the noise, or the noise reduction, for me has been helpful through guided, right?
mm-hmm,
Whether that's by music or someone's voice and they're telling you how to breathe and what to do.
mm-hmm,
Whereas
mm-hmm.
the meditation that you're speaking of is more of an oracle, where you are getting a download and you're receiving from your ancestors, and you're already quietened. Your brain is already quiet. Your mental is already quiet. Okay, because I found that if I when I've tried to do and I think that was Gwen who was speaking earlier, when you try to do, how do you get rid of all the noise, right, Gwen? You're thinking about, oh gosh, I've got to do dishes, oh my gosh, I forgot this off my grocery list, you know what I mean? And it's hard to sit
Mm-hmm.
and be still for minutes and try to get that brain clear. But to your point, you're not supposed to be letting your brain get clear. The more you do it, the less noise. But it's just a practice. You have to keep doing it. The longer you do it, the better you get at it, basically.
Exactly, exactly. Because I I don't have to now do that guided meditation, because now I know how to quiet my noise by just doing that. And even
Right,
like you're saying, I have definitely heard the answers throughout the day, and not just that, they show me with numerology.
right,
I'll
right,
see 111 and five five
right,
five, and I
right,
know what those 111 means, and I know
right,
what 222 mean, and
right.
so I'm able to decode it, and I'm like, okay, ancestors, I see you're saying this. What does that mean? And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm talking to them throughout the day, but
Right,
that quietness it takes me to a different place, and
right,
I'm connected not just to the answers, I'm connecting to the deities, I'm connecting to the angels, I'm doing all those things at that quiet time. And yeah, I could get what some of my people might be saying, channeling or downloads or whatever somebody might want to call it, but
right,
I don't have to do the guided meditation anymore,
right,
because I know how I quiet myself now with just the ritual of writing whatever that is down and putting it inside a basket and taking it to the water. Like, I tried that over and over and it worked. And now I don't really have that issue anymore. I don't have
right,
to do the guided meditation. But there was times, I mean, that was my first interest to anything as far as meditation, because this is before I went to class, nothing. I had no understanding. And so my meditation and guided meditation was all I did for 2 years. It
yeah,
was wonderful. It was great. But I know now that when I want to get quiet and be in that space, I can just immediately go into that space. And I don't have to do it. I can go in that space in the midst of people running in the street. Like, I don't need that quiet time, but I know at that time it's a special quiet time in the universe. And so I know that I'm is the clarity I get from that time. But but I again, I can get it at any time. But at between 3 and 5, in the universe is known to be very quiet, and that's when, that's why a lot of people, they say people die at that time. There's a
mhm.
lot of things going on in the spiritual realm between 3 and 5,
Yeah.
and
They
that's
call it
one of the reasons
the world.
why,
Yeah,
that's the reason why. But yeah, I agree 100% what you're saying. Some people need that, and it's fine. I did. I needed it for 2 years. That was my introduction to anything meditation, was guided meditation. But I don't use it anymore, because when I never get that quiet, I know how to do it. I can just turn it on. But it took me months to get there, doing it over and over and over. And, it wasn't that easy in the beginning, Shoot, I used to fall asleep in meditation.
Let me ask you a question. Did you find that once you've learned, whether it's guided or your own self, do you find that it helps you in other aspects of your life as far as being able to listen? Because one of the things that I have
Mhm.
a really, really, really hard time with is allowing others to speak and me listen.
Well,
And and the thing is, now what I have started doing at night is shutting everything down and having like either rain or snow or something that's in the background to get my thoughts to calm down.
mhm.
But can meditation help you with being able to be calm in your thoughts so that you can listen to others?
Well, I'm doing chakras now in my spiritual class, and your heart chakra, your throat chakra, those are the reasons why you can't let people talk. It really, meditation, I don't know if it's going to totally help you in that, but what the deal is, your chakra, I hate to say they're not aligned or they're blocked, but they're not flowing freely because of some past trauma. Because I have that same issue. And I was, you know, talking to the ancestors about, I need to figure out what this is, why I do this. And it's your chakras, and your throat and or your heart chakra is where the issue is. And that needs to be tuned up, for lack of a better word. Because a lot of the chakras they don't move, or the energy doesn't move consistently because of trauma that we've experienced. And um, and so until that gets aligned correctly, you're going to have that issue. And I I, I have it 120-fold. So when I found that out, because I just the other day, I was like, "Are you kidding me? This is why. This is a universe. The universe said, you want to know? Here you go. This is your chakras." So now, I'm learning about how to get the chakras aligned, and you can get a Reiki. You could you know talk to your ancestors about, like, what is that trauma, what is that um I've dealt with in my past or as a child, that's making me, because I realized what it was, because my parents were, you can be seen as a child and not heard, and because they were that way, they shut my throat down, and now I'm busting out, and now I'm just want to talk. That was the one thing that I found out, is they shut me down. Like, you can't speak, you can't speak up for yourself. And so that was one of the reasons why I realized that I talk over people. Um, and my heart chakra. So um, we can go offline and I can talk to you about it. Um, Again, like I said, this is like a journey of enlightenment. I mean, one of the things that I thought that I don't, and I know Melanie would know about this, is yoga. People talk about yoga, that's demonic, and I mean, when I found out that it's Kemetic, it's African, it's not even Indian. They have, they're not gonna say co-opted, because they did not. They learned from Kemetic about yoga, and yoga helps you align your chakras. Kemetic yoga, and I think that we have all these tools that we have not been taught about. And so, because Melanie, we went to church together, so she knows we kind of learned all these different things, and now we had to relearn stuff. But the things that we learned is powerful. We have so much power inside of us, but again, a lot of our childhood trauma comes up in our life, and this is why we struggle in certain areas. So yeah, we can talk offline, and I can kind of give you some things that you can do um, to help with your chakras. Because I mean, there's even a class, and they're very inexpensive online that helps you with your chakras. Kind of goes through. It's like $35, really inexpensive. Um, and then there's a video that I can share with you that also um, is an avatar video, and it is an avatar. He talks about the chakras, and it's, I would say, 99% accurate. Just one little thing in it that's not, but it's a really accurate understanding about chakras, because that's new to most people. It's just an energy system that's inside of our body. And it, doctors know about it in a way. They're talking about it more now, but it is the way we are aligned physically, mentally, spiritually, and we have to make sure that our energy is moving correctly in order for us to be abundant, successful, and be on our mission.
Okay.
So sorry, I went around the town to get to that answer, but the universe is wonderful, because I didn't know that somebody would ask that question. And I just was learning about it the other day. The universe always gives you what you need all the time when you need it. It's just amazing.
Cool.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions?
Oh, there's tons. But so going back to, of course, the big social media debate of the past
Mhm,
week or so was a specific post about
mhm,
yoga.
mm.
And it was very puzzling. It was really very puzzling. And I remember commenting on one post, how is stretching for flexibility and breathing and being still, how is that possibly evil? So would you like to share your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that just a simple thing is, people get their information about what they think certain things is from Hollywood, from television. They're not researching these things. I mean, when the church that I went to, um, we couldn't do yoga. The African masks that you see on we had to take them all down, and some people had to burn them. So there's a lot of inaccurate
Wow.
information. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. Wow. Okay. I mean, I go to my children and I say sorry all the time about the foolishness. I didn't know, because again, I was looking on the outside of me and not the inside. So instead of asking questions and researching myself, like, what actually is yoga? Where does it come from? What is it doing? And my mom was doing yoga before yoga was big, especially for Black people. It was like that, you don't do yoga. Black people don't do it. And to find out that yoga is something that is comedic is just amazing. It belongs to us, and it is a way for you to I mean, this it's a lot of physical things that you for yoga, that I took a comedic yoga. Actually, this girl spoke in a class, and she spoke about comedic yoga, and how the your body is a system, and um you are, when you're doing those poses, you are connecting, and you are connecting to the ancestors. You're connecting to to who you really are, and like, you are fixing your body is changing. And fibroids, there's people who have taken comedic yoga and got rid of all their fibroids. And you wonder, all these different things you're telling me that it is not good for me, but it's helping people. So again, yeah, it's not true. And most of those people who say it's demonic is something that their pastor has said to them. They didn't do any research for themselves, because, like you said, you're stretching, you're moving your body, which is always good for you. And no, it's definitely not demonic, because you know, I mean,
First
the
of all,
God.
first of all, sorry
Go
to
ahead.
interject.
Go ahead. No, don't please interrupt.
Pisses me off. Sorry, Gwen. So I was one of the first Black people in our church to approach our pastor and say, what gives with yoga? Okay. Because, what happens is the problem now is that all of us can read and all of us have access to the internet. Okay. 20 years ago, maybe not so much, right? To be fair, right? Unless you worked in a corporate setting, you really weren't Googling or looking things up or whatever, right? So I got chastised for asking the question. And all of these pastors, religious folks who are saying that yoga is a sin, they absolutely cannot answer that question. They have no scripture to back it up. And what Christianity does is, if this is something that we say we don't do, you don't do. They cannot back it up. Right. Because even very recently, I think a couple of months ago, this came up on somebody came on my feed and said, oh, I won't be doing yoga. And it was a pastor. And I said, well, why not? Can you provide the scripture or your spiritual background to, help me? Because I've been looking, mind you, I went to seminary. So could you break down for me where that scripture is? Because I haven't found it. Well, there's crickets, because there is none. See, whenever Christians feel that something is out of scope, so for them, the way it was explained to me back in the day by two separate pastors, well, it's the Indians and they worship multiple gods and that's where they got it from. And I was like, well, no, it was actually co-opted and co-opted by the Eastern Indians, and it doesn't actually belong to them at all. Nope. And it actually came from Africa. Oh, I don't know about that, Mel. They have gods, and so da. I mean, I almost got bitch slapped by my stepmother because I had Buddha earrings in my ear. I mean, these guys are really hardcore about this sort of thing, right? And Jackie can tell you right now, when you come to my house, there's a bloody Buddha in every flipping room on purpose, okay? So I've practiced yoga for probably 2000. Oh, has it been 20 years? Oh God, maybe it is 20 years. And I remember hearing Felicia Rashad saying that she practices yoga. And I went back to my pastor and I said, she's a Christian woman. Can you explain that? Oh, that's just Hollywood. Hollywood just does anything.
I have found that, especially on social media, and you're right, Mel, we have access to everything. Right. And a lot of times we have access to ridiculousness. Yes. And there's people who have a platform on social media who are naysayers against everything that they have in their mind. And believe me, if you want to say crazy stuff or things that I shouldn't say crazy, if you want to say things, I don't care what it is, whether you say my eye is blue or my eye is pink and blue, you will have a backing or a platform or a choir behind you who will agree if you say it loud enough or say it enough. That's one of the things I always had problems with when it came to Christianity, is the whole idea of the ceremony of stuff where you're giving you have all your knowledge based on a book that you don't know who wrote. That's and correct. And I've always had an issue with that. I'm like, what are you basing any of this on? All this negativity, all this judgment, all this criticism of things that are naturally done with your body. It is natural for you to bend over. It is natural for you to, these things are not, why in the world would that be demonic for you to stretch your own body?
Because they're not, again, most Christian people, number one, when I was in seminary, they told us, and they said this out loud. I was actually kind of surprised the guy said this out loud. He said that for those who have actually admitted it out loud, there are only 6% of Christians who've ever read the Bible cover to cover, word for word, page to page.
I'm sure.
6. And he threw in the pastors in that. He said the pastors are included in that number. Okay. So these guys are not reading the Bible for themselves. So what happens is, because they think it's part of Eastern mythology, therefore it has nothing to do with the Bible. So therefore it's demonic, right? But no one has actually read the Bible cover to cover, word for word, right? And then people don't understand especially Americans. Please forgive me, but we're not really good about demographics and where countries are, and then we don't understand like how, you know, we all started in Africa and how we all migrated across the globe and how traditions and religions were dragged and improved and added. Like people are not deep enough to even understand the basics of that.
Exactly.
So they think it's Eastern mythology. They think it's from the Indians, that they got all these gods, you know, thousands of gods. So therefore, because they have, and they don't believe in Jesus. That's really important, right? So all those thousands of gods, they don't believe in Jesus, and we're told that Jesus is supposed to be the only God. So that's why they call it demonic. But these people who moving your body is just about your lymphatic system.
Exactly. It's about breathing, wellness, stretching.
It gets your lymph nodes moving, gets your blood moving. It moves. It moves. Oh, so ridiculous.
No, think about this. It's why, and Gwendolyn, you know, why don't you want me well? Why don't you want me healed? Why don't you want me not to know who I am? We have to figure out, like, why are you telling me these things for me not to know that all the power that I need is within me? That you want me to go outside to you know, always go to a doctor, always go to the pastor, always go, but God, even the scripture, the Bible that they are using, says God wants to talk to man face to face. You and him, you and her. I mean, it's like crystals. Crystals is all through the Bible.
Yes.
You're talking about beryl. In Exodus 28:20, it talks about agate, Agate. Exodus 28:19. It talks about amethyst. It talks about emeralds. It talks about diamonds. So all these are crystals and stones that, you know, you talk about, oh, look, she get her crystals out. Sage is in the Bible. All those priests, they use sage.
That's right.
So all these different things that we have been told that is not right. So, you know, to me, two things. Christianity is especially Black people. It's the only religion that way they show it is that this particular person doesn't look like us. Okay. And we're the only ones who do that, which is very sad, because the Indians, they have their own gods and they worship these particular gods, but they look like them. Why we don't have a God that looks like us?
Imagine.
You know,
we're not allowed to worship our ancestor, but we can worship
our ancestors, which the scriptures talks about. And the thing is, the first one that you want to talk about is the person in the mirror. That is the God that you need to know about.
That's correct.
And that's a whole nother story, but there's a scripture that talks about that we are gods. And so again, it keeps, one of the biggest things that I have learned by this journey is that I have the power, I have the magic, I have what I need. I'm getting tools, but I have it. I've always had it. And because, you know, this is not the first time I've been on this earth, I will continuously have it. I had it in the past, and hopefully I'll send and I don't have to come back here again, but you know, I don't know. But, you know, all these different things we have learned is like, ooh, can't talk about, but, you know, it's in the Bible that they follow, it is there. So, Abner, are there any more questions in the social media?
I know we have some people watching here, and there were definitely a lot of hearts. There was something that, okay, you know, it's something you said earlier, and I wanted to say in regards to the whole thing with yoga. Okay, you don't want us stretching, you don't want us to be flexible. And I remember when I was younger going to church and seeing the health conditions, the
Mm,
overweight, the
mhm.
diabetes, and the
Yes.
people who had legs amputated.
Mhm.
Okay, you don't want us, you're not supposed to do that. And like I
Right.
said, how do we get well? Then what do we
Right.
do?
Right.
What
Right.
is the thing that will, what is the practice or modality that will have you still breathing into your body, seeing
Mhm.
what your body can do? Okay,
Yeah.
tell me what it is. Tell me.
On my doula class, I learned something that was just amazing. These two, they were trying to figure out why Black women had low birth weight babies. And I was a Black doctor and a white doctor. They did all these different research. It doesn't, matter if you went to college, if you make a lot of money, it didn't matter. Black women were still having low birth weight. And they found out that it was racism. And, you know, as a Black woman, I know that I have issues breathing. I bet you at least 60 to 70% of the people who are on this call don't know how to breathe correctly. And when you don't breathe correctly, you're not bringing your own stuff, like you said, I mean, oxygen to yourself. So if you can't bring oxygen to yourself, how you bring oxygen to the baby? And that's why they're not growing. Because when you're in stress because of racism, you can't breathe. And that is part of what's hurting Black women in childbirth, is that we are in these places that are not teaching us basic things on how to breathe. And so for me, I'm learning how to meditate, and with yoga, both of them, I'm learning how to breathe. The basic thing on how to breathe, most of us do not know how to do. And if you can't bring oxygen to your body, your body will shut down eventually. So, yeah, I think yoga is the best thing. I have someone that I follow. She's online, and I do comedic yoga with her online. She is amazing, and I'll put all this information in on Facebook chat, and so that we can connect with her. But she's great. She does sound bowls, and that is amazing. The sound bowls, that was another area that I learned and I appreciate. It was just, now just I feel so connected with myself that I never felt before. Before was, I'm worshiping someone who's outside of me. And even though, in Christianity, they'll say, you have a relationship with God on the inside, most people have no connection and no clue of that. But he wants you to know who you are. So if you're saying he's a he, don't you think he wants you to know who you are? And I think we need to ask those hard questions that we don't really want to ask to ourselves, because we're so used to this. Black people in Christianity, it's like hand in hand. It's just what we do. And my husband has never, when I met him, he said he was never a Christian, never went to church. I was like, what? A Black person? It was so weird to me, because that's just what we do. Gone are the days when the overseers was in the church watching and making sure that we were saying what he wanted us to say. We don't have that now. We have opportunity to research ourselves, to, like, Gwendolyn and Melanie said, go on social media and get the information ourselves. There's no reason for people to be unlearned. They just need to listen to that inner person that's telling you that there's something wrong, that you're supposed to be doing more, and that you are more. Just listen to that. And I know y'all hearing it. You need to listen to that, and you need to speak. Just start talking. I need to know. The ancestors, the universe will definitely lead you to where you need to be. And they're talking to you, because they were talking to me I was a Christian. I became a Christian in 1991. And I was a Christian for at least 15 or more years, at least. It might have been more than that. And but I was always asking questions, and if things didn't make sense, I was always asking more questions. And I ask questions now. That's what I'm supposed to. I don't understand this. Could you explain it to me? And I don't want to hear what you're talking. No, I don't want to hear no crickets when I ask you a question. It should not be a crickets. It should be someone be able to tell me, hey, this is what this is.
So there is a question here. Sound bowls. Can you talk a little about sound bowls?
It's kind of new to me, but it is made for a particular material, and it's just the moving of the energy. And each particular bowl has a different energy, and it connects with your chakras, with your energy. And I remember the first time I heard it, I was actually at Rock Collage in Jersey. It was the first time I ever heard a sound bowl. But when I was in yoga and Kemetic yoga and I heard it, and I was doing the positions, it was different because I was moving my body and the energy was moving and it felt healing to my body. It was the most amazing experience because we have to be tuned. We're energy. We have to. We're not, what they said that we were. We're not what they say that we were, and we have to connect. Like, going outside, to nature. I'm not a bug and nature person. I'm just not. So I had to do other things. I had to go out there in nature, and the sound bowls was one of those things that it brings healing to your body. It makes it brings it kind of levels out your energy, and it is, if you continue to, if I don't know if the person who said it have done it, if they haven't done it, I would recommend um the person that I went to in Jersey, but the young lady that's online, she does it as well. And you can do it in your house. You can listen to it in your house. And when you're moving, it is amazing. And also when you're sitting down meditating in that zone, when you hear it, it brings healing to your body, healing to your mind. And it was beautiful. I couldn't believe how it connected to my body because you're energy. You are energy.
Um,
And go ahead.
no, they said, I walked past one and it had a profound effect on me,
Mm.
major. So what I would say is our bodies are made up of vibration. Our
Yes,
bodies are vibration. So
exactly.
the sound healing definitely impacts that.
Right.
And I know the person who's commenting is in New York. So I just want to
Mhm.
recommend,
Mhm.
check out Brother Sunseed on Facebook.
Oh,
Sunseed.
sunseed. Okay.
He and his wife, they do these sound baths in Harlem, like outside, like in the park. And it's just
Mm. Is it SEED, sunseed?
yeah, it's
Okay.
Sun and the last name Seed, Seed. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna put it on my
You
Facebook.
know, sound, I always say that energy healing is the medicine of the next century,
Mm.
because it works on your other levels.
Yes.
It works on those levels of yourself that's beyond the physical,
Yes.
your auric field, your energetic field. That's what sound
Yes.
healing does. So when you walk past one and you had that profound effect, you're responding to the vibration
Yes.
because we're made up of vibration.
Exactly. We are made up of vibration, and our energy is consistently moving. And if it's not moving, that's when there's a problem. But it is always moving, it's just not moving the way it's supposed to move. Because it's definitely, energy is always moving. I mean, because if you put something in a socket and close that socket up, that the energy, Cod Ed, is still moving. The electricity is still moving in your house. So energy is still moving. It just may be at that entrance there is not moving where it's supposed to be. And yes, that sound healing was that was another level. I mean, when I first experienced it, I was just like, wow. And you think about it, when you go to concerts and hear music, what it does to you. You can hear a certain song and it brings you to a certain space. Well, that sound healing is going even deeper than that. Those bowls, that sound coming from the bowls, are going even deeper than that. So it's, and the thing is, we understand when someone says, oh, what about, this song? We understand, like, oh, yeah, I understand that. And it makes sense that certain music, certain vibration from the music does this. Like when, you hear drums, it brings you to a certain space because it's the vibration in the drums that's doing that, and it's vibrating and connecting to your vibration, and those things are healing. I mean, it was healing. I would say to my mind, that was the first mind healing that I got. It was just amazing. So if you have never done it, I would, definitely look up sound sunseed, and I will definitely put into the Facebook chat. I will put in the person that she does kinetic yoga, and she does sound bowls at the end.
Yes, because he is asking for info here in the comments, a referral. And I'm also going to say, just save the date for June 8th, which is our Soul of a Man event. And there will be sound healing for the men. Well, that's
Oh,
going to be co-ed.
oh,
There
nice.
will be sound healing. So save that date. Save that date. I'm gonna tag you. That's the person that's commenting. I'm gonna tag you June 8th.
Awesome.
Save the date for that. They also said, yes, the sound bowls were amazing. And sister, I come from the church too, born again, so I can relate to everything
Oh
you're
yeah.
saying.
You talk about born again, filled with the Holy Spirit, spoke in other tongues, lay hands, all of that. So, it wasn't. This is a big deal for me to have moved out of that. It was a big deal, and it was a journey. And I'm not at the end, of course, because I haven't fulfilled my mission here, but I'm learning, and I'm in a great university, Spiritual Ascension University, that really, she's an actual professor. So she's not just someone who just picks stuff, but she's an actual professor who was a professor in college and universities, and she got a calling to do this for her ancestor, just a total soul mission. And she, listens, and she's been on YouTube for a long, long time. And I was just like, wow, this is what I need, because I'm kind of person that I need to understand intellectually, because I have to be able to talk to somebody about it. I can't just say, well, just do it. I know, I want you to understand these are the things you need to do in order to meditate. These are the things you need to do and about your, for your astrology and sound healing. We have all these resources at our disposal, chakras. All these things are for us. They are for us, for healing, for us mentally and physically and spiritually and financially, because we're not forgetting that we're not supposed to be poor either,
Mhm, mhm.
because that's something that unfortunately in some Christian groups that we're supposed to be poor, and no, we're not. So,
So,
so to end it, I will tell you that you definitely need to quiet yourself and and just ask, what is my soul mission? Why am I here? And I think many of us want to know, but we just been kind of conned into this thing that I'm here to worship God. What? No, that's it. Is that it? Because I'm
I,
gonna tell you
I
something. I think you know the worship that had, they're getting the worship, and you can still worship God and still know what you're here for.
Um, that's an interesting question. What is my soul mission? Because is that a question that's asked in church? Is that part of the teachings? Asking. It's a very important question. So I think a lot of times when people say that they have the dark night of the soul,
Mm,
it's like, has that been a question that ever been addressed. I know if you look at certain indigenous traditional societies, it from the time the child is born,
Yes.
there's divination and stuff to find out what your mission is.
Yes.
And I don't understand why it's the idea of a divination or things like that is so frowned upon and looked at as evil, when it's like, how do you get the answer to the question? And on the same note, why is there so much fear? Because one thing, when I was talking with you about having this discussion, I always think about someone who's sitting there every Sunday and they have questions and
Right.
have this feeling, but they're scared. They're
Scared to
scared,
act.
and yeah, and they don't want to be ostracized. So what
Exactly.
could you say about that?
You know, you have to know, and even when I was in Christianity, I used to be like, so you telling me God only speaks to you? He don't speak to me. And so I started asking questions in that way. And so when I realized that, even because in the Bible it says that we're supposed to be talking to God. So I think a person needs to, you may not get the answers in church, and you probably will not get the answers in church, but know that you have a voice, and you can be quiet, and you can get the answers for yourself. You do not have to go to your pastor or your deacon or the first lady or any of those things to people. Your answers are inside of you. Your ancestors are here for you. You know, angels are here for you. They're for you. They're not for a particular special people. There's not special people who have soul missions. They're not special people who can talk to the ancestors or can talk to deities. You can. You can do this. And I know one thing in Christianity, they kind of make you small to say only, because the scriptures, it says I can't remember the scripture it says, but he said, it was in Acts, I want to say, and he said, I want to talk to man face to face. I can talk to God on my own, you know, and so that person doesn't need to go to the pastor because they probably are going to ostracize you. But when you come home from church, sit down and talk to your ancestors. Talk to your grandma, your great grandma, talk to the angels. Say, you know what? I'm not quite sure what's going on, but I know what I'm doing here is not making it. So I need some help. Because that's pretty much what I did. I was just like, I need help. I didn't go to any of those people at church, not one of them. And I was in leadership. And no, didn't go to any of those people because I knew what they were going to say. I mean, I know, you know why I knew? Because I said the same thing to other people. So I knew what they were.
Mm,
So it wasn't that I didn't
wow.
know. So I knew they were going to say it was demonic because that's what I was saying to other people. So I knew it. And so it was no reason to go to someone who I know what they were going to say. Was no reason. So I didn't go to any of them. I sat down and between looking at my girlfriend's pages, but at the end of the day, I had to go and talk to the ancestors myself. But the thing is, like one of the biggest issues that I had, even though I was going for a journey, was I was scared to go to hell. I was scared up until I would say a year and a half ago. I said, I'm doing all these things. I was afraid for the one thing was that what if that I'm gonna go to hell? That's how scared and the fear that they had on me. But you think about your child. You think about your own child. They make a mistake or they go in the wrong way. What do? You turn them to the right way. So why would this God send me to hell? Why would he do that? So I started asking myself questions, just questions. And I'm telling you, you start asking questions, boy, let me tell you, the universe will answer for
Mm,
sure. And so I
mm,
would recommend just sit down and ask questions. Write the questions out and just start asking them and keep doing it and keep doing it. You will get an answer. The universe will send all type of people, situations things. I mean, I got a flyer. I got on somebody's page. I saw things. All those different things was the universe leading me to finding what my soul mission, because that was the bottom line. It's why am I here? Everything else is just the resources for me to get to why am I here. I have a mission. We're not here just to go to church, go to work, eat, raise children, and die. That's it? Nah. We and our mission is so big. It's so big. So don't be afraid. Your mission is big.
And so for the people who do have the questions and want to journey and would be ostracized, who would be ostracized, and I don't remember, disfellowshipped or whatever,
Yeah.
what kind of encouragement would
Well,
you give them?
if Jehovah's Witnesses are the only ones that I know that disfellowship. Most Christianity, Baptists, and all that, Pentecostal, they don't really disfellowship. If a person feels like, because it could be a family, you could be living in a teenager living in a house with your parents, and they say you gotta go to church. You may have to go and do these things. Then it's okay for you to go. If they say that you have to, or if you say, Mom, I'm not really into this, I don't really want to do this, then you come home and you do your meditation. You start speaking to your ancestors. But if you're this fellowship at church, as a Jehovah's Witness, then you have an opportunity now to go home and speak to your ancestors and speak to your spirit team. They are here for you. So, all that stuff is outside people. They're not in charge of your spiritual life. Only you are. You're in control of your spiritual life. You're in control of you. If you succeed or you fail, it's only about you. It's not, no one can make you fail nor succeed. Only you can. So they disfellowship you. That gives me more opportunity to go home and spend time and find out who I am. But if you could be in a situation where you don't have a choice, then go and then come home at night and meditate. And the universe will find a way. No, maybe guaranteed the universe is going to find a way, because it did to me. I'm not special. I just spoke up and said, this is not right. This is not right. And I went to, go ahead.
I just find it so courageous, because so courageous for you to even be in ministry leadership, and you now talking about chakras and yoga and crystals, and like I just really hope that you might have quietly inspired someone else who even had the curiosity but was so afraid of even asking, I heard about chakras. Can you tell me what that is? What
Right.
that is?
Absolutely. And and it's the thing is, the scripture says, you're supposed to be free. But it seems like when, it's bondage. We're supposed to be free in what people say in Christianity, but you're in bondage if you're too afraid to say and speak up, because you're afraid as a physical man. But what about, did you talk to the universe? What about the source? These are just men. This is just a human being. I'm not afraid of you. So if you ostracize me, it's okay. But I know that there are situations where people don't have choice. If you're married and you could be a first lady and you have to go, it don't mean you can't come home and meditate. It don't mean you can't go and speak to your ancestors and ask the universe to help you. You can still do those things. The universe isn't gonna be like, oh, sorry, you're going to church. No, absolutely not. You can go and do it. But I guarantee you the universe is going to find a way for you to get out of the situation, because it wants you to do your mission. You're here for a reason. You're not here by, just to do nothing, because, that's what the world is. But we're here for a mission. And I mean, I'm just so thankful to find my soul mission. And, I can't even believe it. I mean, I'm 58 years old and I'm going, I'm learning these things now. You're never too old. You're never too young. mean, yeah, do I say that, I don't feel bad that I went through Christianity? Not at all. I don't feel like, oh, wish, nope. I mean, what do I wish that my mom or my dad knew about African spirituality when I was younger, when I was a kid? Absolutely, because I would have been a different person. But that wasn't the way it was. And I know that I was supposed to go through all of this to get to where I am now. So don't feel bad about this. You were a Christian. Oh gosh, I can't believe I wasted my time. Don't. You went through all that for a particular reason for the time of now.
Well, I want to say this, as Jacqueline is my sister. My sister has always been a seeker, even when we were young. She's always been a seeker. She's never been one to just say, okay, this is what it is all the time. She's always been something else that wasn't right, or something that moved. When she first moved to Georgia, and I'm going to speak for just about everybody else, there was this, all of us had this kind of, it was like a fear of, because she was very much into her Christianity. And it was a fear that we all had to say certain things around her, or be certain ways around her. And but I knew even then she was still seeking. Now she is so much more open, and I can see her, and she sees others, and it makes me feel a whole lot more comfortable going to her and asking her questions, and getting her energy, as far as, and her opinion on certain things. But my sister has always been a seeker of something that was better, and she had to go through this journey to get to where she is now. And she is I'm so proud of her. I'm just really proud of her.
Thank you. Thank you, Big Sis.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. Just trying to scroll through here, and people were liking, but I'm not always seeing who it is that's liking. Um, um, yeah, I've got a lot of likes, so I just can't see you. But okay. Or do you have any classes or courses, or is there a forthcoming book? Do you do any coaching for people?
Well, I definitely do astrology. I do anybody. I don't at this moment. All is my family and my close friends. I do all their natal charts. Because I'm learning, and the more I learn, I want to give. Um, I am going to be, and I'll put it in the chat, my new Instagram, Water Doula. My company, I already have my name of my company and my company, and what I'm going to be doing with my soul mission is being a doula. But I want to, especially for Black women, is after they have a baby, um, in other countries, specifically Korea, they have a woman who comes in, takes care of the mother. She could have C-section or natural childbirth, but give her good food, cook for her really good food, help her with the baby, and it's like 2 weeks, and it's like a opportunity that the mother can connect with their baby, and and especially if you have other children. And this is something where I want to give to specifically Black women, because gosh, we got it so hard. And I think if somebody was in there helping a mom with their baby, with the baby, it would just be amazing thing. When I saw that this is what they do in Korea, it is just amazing. So that's something that I want to do, and I'm going to do. Um, yeah, I will be doing natal charts. And right now I just do for my close family and friends. But if anybody wants one, I'll put my information in the chat, and I will, and you can reach out to me if you want your natal chart. Right now, I'm not charging, but I will in the near future. But right now, I'm not. So,
Oh, okay. Okay. So that's what you offering in the realm of coaching and counseling.
Yeah, so if anyone is going through and trying to figure out, coming out of Christianity, I'm telling you, I would just reach out to me and message. I will definitely try to help you through it. Because it can be taxing, especially on families. What can I do? Is this too much? Or just you just in the beginning, because I was in a place where I was just starting out and I just didn't know what to do. I went to your events all the time. I was always at an event, learning, just trying to get all the information. And that was my beginning. And just be open. And let me tell you, your spirit knows. It definitely knows. So that's
Okay.
it.
So I definitely, yeah, I definitely hope that that's, encouraging, encouraging for someone, because I always think of, you know, I guess someone who was like me sitting there and like, I'm not feeling, I'm not feeling this isn't fulfilling.
Right.
There's got to be like so much more. So, I just have a question. So, if someone confronts you or tries to say that you're wrong, do you have any kind of rebuttal for them? Because that could help someone who's on a journey
I'm going to
too.
tell you, even in Christianity, I'm not arguing with anybody. It's no reason, because like that energy is not good. That arguing energy is not good. And so I know that if someone is coming toward me like that, they sense something, and they're upset about the fact that they sense something. Um, and all I would say was just, you know, go and take the time, because what harm could it do? Like, what could it be if you went and started speaking to the ancestors? What could happen to you? What could
Mm.
what negative could happen to you when you start to meditate? What could happen to you when you start to breathe and do yoga? What bad could happen to you? So,
Well,
I'm not arguing with anyone. If you feel that, this is, fooyah, ridiculous, that's fine. Because Jack is going to keep talking to her ancestors. She's going to keep meditating. I'm going to continue to do my soul mission. And I hope and that you, whoever that is, um, will find out why they're here as well. Yeah.
that when I see people do ask that question, like, what is so bad? Is, oh, you're opening yourself up to evil forces. And I just think I've never learned so much about evil forces, like no one talks about evil forces like the church does.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
everything is just evil. Oh, meditation opens yourself up to evil forces. Yoga opens yourself up to evil. If you're saging, you're just letting I have learned so much about demons from I
The
see.
thing is, if what you give power to is what is. And so
Mm,
it was so much
mm.
power given to you're not but a sin, you're dirty. I mean, you think about this, the song Amazing Grace that Black people sing at funerals. That song was written by a overseer, a slaver who owned a ship, who was
Yep.
bring Africans from Africa. He was saying that he was disgusting, that woe is he, that he was horrible. And why the Black people sing that song now? That is some messed up stuff. I mean, that is mentally a problem that we
That
sing that
song was
song
with his
at
wife. He
funerals.
finished with his wife. That was not about what it's supposed to be. You're right. Horrible.
It's
Horrible.
horrible that I mean, we can't, we go to all funerals, they have to sing that song.
Yeah.
Wretched. He was saying he is wretched. He was talking about himself on what he was doing. It was wretched. And he's right. But why are we like, how are you going to say that I am awesome and glorious and spiritual, and then come out here and say you wretched? Like, I don't understand that thinking. That don't make any sense. But I did these things. And so I look at it now and I'm like, I'm so thankful that I, I have recordings and I record myself saying things about Jacqueline, about who Jacqueline is, about the day that Jacqueline's going to have. I go on my record, I say, because when you hear your own voice, it's a certain power that you get from it. So I'm not hearing somebody else say, Jackie, you're marvelous and you're this. I record it on my phone and I listen to it back about who Jackie is. That's powerful. So why am I going to talk about how horrible I am and I sinned and I'm guilty? And no, how are you going to be? I mean, even the scripture says the goodness of God bring those to say I'm sorry, to repentance. So it's saying that knowing how good it is brings you to say I'm sorry. So how do you turn around here and talk about I'm a wretched? It's just we're so confused. And I'm so glad that I am now knowing about who I am. That's the most important thing. Who I am. And the most important thing about who I am is I'm love. And that's who that's what I'm going to give. And if someone doesn't, that's fine. It's good. You don't have to agree. I'm going to love you and keep it moving. My family, oh, I don't, say, I don't believe that, Jackie. That's absolutely fine. I'm going to still love you. I'm going to still love you. And I'm going to go do what I have to do. And it's okay. It's absolutely fine. I'm not going to argue or anything like that because it's not good energy. And I don't want that. I don't want that kind of energy. I've learned.
Okay, so that you feel when someone comes to you, they just want to argue. They don't really want a dialogue.
No, they don't. They don't want to. And I was thinking the thing is if someone, you know, doesn't understand and wants to go through and say, hey, could you show me this? Could you make me understand this? That's something different. But if somebody wants to argue and say that what you're doing is demonic, what am I going to argue with you for? You already made a decision. That's fine. I mean, that's fine. And and the thing is, in the actual scripture that they follow, it talks about the fruit of the spirit: love, joy, peace, long suffering. Long suffering. That means that you suffer long, means that you sit back and you just wait. I don't have to argue with you or anything like that. In the scripture that you say you follow, you're not following. So why am I arguing with you? No. And that's one of the reasons why I'm thankful that I know the scriptures, that I could speak the scriptures, because I know it's going to help me help somebody else, because I understand, like somebody else said, that they were born again. They understand what I'm saying because we went through this, and I'm just so thankful that I'm on the other side. Yeah.
Okay, do you have any final words of counseling or guidance to share with everyone? Because I know people will be tuning in for the replay also.
Yeah. I would say that you should be open. Don't turn your back on somebody, speaks about certain things that you don't understand. Just listen. It's never going to hurt just to listen and find out where they're from, what they're talking about. Be open. Think about, yeah, I can talk to my ancestors. I can do this. I can meditate. I can do yoga, and it's nothing going to, happen to me. You know, you have the source. You're connected to the source. Ask the source. Ask the source. Not people, not some book. And the thing is, quiet as a kept, there are so many additional books that they have taken out the Bible. And I have quite a few of them. And if you see some of what they say, whew, let me tell you, you'll be surprised. The word fear is a very relatively new word. The word fear is new. It doesn't mean what we know it to mean. It is a relatively new word that someone has put in to the dictionary. And in the dictionary, if you go back to the Oxford Dictionary, the first dictionary, the word fear means something totally different. So I would say do some homework. Look for the word fear and find out what it means. Go back far, not the merit, one that we look now. Go back to the first Oxford. Look it up. You'll be so surprised that a lot of words that we believe to be a meaning is not that meaning. And I do understand, and I think people understand that they don't really want us to be successful. They don't want us to be smart, to be strong, to be healed, to be spiritual, to connect to our ancestors, to know who we are. So if they don't want us to do it, your question should be why.
Mm.
And when I do, like, what are they afraid? They are afraid that you are powerful, that you are wonderful, that you are awesome, that you have magic, that you may not need them.
Mm.
That's what they're afraid of. So,
Mm.
do your homework, research, be open, you're loved regardless. You're always going to be loved. You've been here before, you just don't remember.
Mm. Mm.
And that's why children, the way they act, they're not afraid, and because they just left there. They just left
Mhm.
the universe. They just left the spiritual realm.
Mhm.
We've been here in 40, 50, 60, 70 years. We didn't know anything. We're like, what? So now you have to go back and figure out, who you were. You know, you got to find who you really are. Who you really are is what you should want to know. Who am I and why am I here?
I just thought of one question. So I didn't know if you ever encountered this when you were in leadership in the church, but what
Mhm.
about the people who are gifted? Like the people who who have prophetic dreams, the people who can see. I mean, see people who are no longer living, people who can see beyond
Mhm.
the veil, people who had
Oh yeah,
mediumship
yes.
abilities. When you were in leadership in the church, and what would be the help that those people could get? And now, what would you say to them now that you're on the other side?
Well, that is a gift that they had, and it had anything to do with Christianity. It has nothing to do with Christianity because my sister is a seer. It has nothing to do with Christianity. It is the gift that you were given to fulfill your soul mission, and you're not using it sitting in there in church.
Mm.
So you need to find what your soul mission is, because that is a gift that you've been given. And everyone has a specific type of gift, and some have more than one. But a lot of times you're in those churches, you'll never tap into it because they don't want you to. I remember a situation that happened, and I had no idea what was happening. I had no idea. The pastor called me to the front, and he said, I need to get your healing energy or your healing something to me. I'm telling you, I knew nothing about what I know now. And he took it from me, the healing energy, and laid hands on somebody else to get healed. So I had no idea. And I was sitting back like, wow, I never thought about it until one day I was in Bible study, still a Christian. And the universe said to me to say this to this woman. And I said it. I lay hands on her stomach. I said, your womb is ready to bring forth a child. And a few weeks later, she was pregnant. I had no idea. And they're not, no, he knew I had that gift, never talked to me about it, never sat down to say, let's see how we can make it better or you can understand. Nothing. Because they don't really want you to work in your gifts, because somebody wants to be important, and that means that somebody else got to be less important.
Mm.
See, that's not how it is.
Wow.
That's not how it is. Everyone has a gift. Somebody has more, somebody have three, but you have a gift, and you should want to know what that is, because it's part of what your mission is being here. Even the scripture said you hide your gift, and it gets taken away. I don't know about that, but you won't know how to use it. You're just sitting there dormant. And I'm going to learn how to work in that, and I'm going to be taking some other classes to learn how to work in that healing hand. But it was happening while I was a Christian. I just didn't understand, and no one was helping me with it. So I'm sure there's plenty of people sitting in churches doing had dreams and it was a person that was at our church. It was a woman who a friend of mine who actually talked to me about the Christ. She had a hole in her heart, like her mom did. Is the guy prayed, saw her heart close up while he was praying. That's a spiritual gift. It's not, it has nothing to do with Christianity. It has nothing to do with Jesus. It has nothing to do with that. It is the gift that he was given. And now I see him DJing. I don't know if he's working his gift or not, but I just see him out DJing and stuff. I mean, he could be. I don't know, but he definitely had the gift.
Uh, so yeah, because you're saying so it wasn't encouraged in the church. So basically,
No,
they were
no one
just
said
like,
anything about it. Nope. No,
okay.
I wasn't encouraged. For certain people, they're encouraged. It depends. For certain people, they'll encourage it. When certain people, they just won't. And see, that's not how it's. Everyone is important to the universe because they gave you the gift to do your job. So of course they want you to do it. But it's again, you gotta, it's church and all that. It's about what's going on the outside. It's not what's happening on the inside. And that's the thing that I'm learning. It's all about that. You look at the Matrix, that is like the movie, that's especially the first one. Watch it in the eye and a thought of spirituality. You'll see a lot more. Every time I watch it, I see so much more. Another movie to watch, I would say, is Fringe. It's a good movie that talks about, you know, crystals and past lives and all of it. If you watch, it's 6 seasons, but I'm gonna tell you, it's a really deep show. And
Oh,
it's
Friends, the series.
a series.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I love that. I love that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing, and how many things spiritual that comes on me. This guy was saying these numbers, and they were in another realm. Couldn't figure out what was happening. He was in another realm, and that happens when you ask. It's so much more. I don't even want to get into it because like it's just so much. You have so much resources at your disposal when you understand your spirituality, when you understand who you are. It's just it's just so big, you know. It's absolutely amazing. And I'm so happy that I even met you, Abner, because I'm you were part of my journey. If I didn't meet you, I don't know if I would be where I am now. So universe sends you people who helps you on your path and your journey.
Wow. Well, I just really hope that whoever's watching or, watches the replay, that it gives them encouragement,
Yes.
that if you have the questions, if you feel like you're not fulfilled or whatever, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not lacking. You don't have to keep trying, trying, trying. Because to me, it's like not everybody's not supposed to walk the same path.
Mm-mm.
That's not that's not
Nope.
um and you don't need to try to convince anyone that what they're doing is wrong and they need to be on this path. So it's very simple. Not everyone is meant to walk the same path.
Exactly. So I'm not here bashing Christians or I'm bashing. No, you go ahead and do whatever you feel that you have to do. This is where I am, my journey. I'm so thankful that I'm going to. Most important thing is my mission, why I'm here, and what I'm supposed to be doing while I'm here, and that's the most important thing. Nothing else matters. Why would it matter? Going to work and doing, I mean, the universe did so many things. I mean, I was working at a job for 25 years and they retired me. And if they didn't retire me, I don't know how I could be a doula. I don't know how I could have been taking my classes at Spiritual Ascension University. I don't know how I would have done it. And so universe said, okay, that's it, and gave me an opportunity. And it's just amazing. It's just amazing. And so, you know what, I would also tell that person, keep a journal, write things down, write, and write, or use a recorder and start speaking certain things. Think about your dreams, because they mean something. They're not about, oh, I ate this hamburger, that's why I dreamt that. No. you know, and it's a lot of herbs, and I take herbs, I drink herbal tea. I do a lot of things that help me get into that space. Also in meditation is I definitely drink the certain teas that help you, get into that meditation. I will also add those things, in the chat so people can see that when they go back. So there's certain teas that'll help you. And get into that space of meditation. Yeah, definitely. I took one particular tea, and it sure got me into that space. The universe wants you to be fulfilled in every area. So sexually, materially, mentally, it's not just, one area. It's all areas. And so, I'm so grateful.
Well, I'm definitely grateful to have crossed paths with you as well.
Absolutely.
And so you will have a Instagram and a website set up very, very soon. So
Yes.
how could someone reach you now when they feel like, oh my gosh, this is someone I need to speak to because they understand? How could people contact you?
You can reach me on Jackie 5679. Or, you can reach Jackie 5679 or doula, um, mother doula 6.
And
That's another Instagram that I'm just starting now. And, there'll be a place where I'm going to be talking about my journey. I'll be talking about astrology, um, me being a doula, because I just took my first class on Sunday. So I want to take, everyone through that, because, that's a very rewarding thing to do, is to be a doula. You don't have to have medical background. You're a person who's, emotionally, mentally, physically, together with a woman and her family. You're there for them, and it's just so amazing. I'm so ecstatic that that's the path that the universe wants me to be on. So you can reach me at Jackie 5679 and right now, and then I will there have everybody move over to my new Instagram, where I will be talking about my journey.
okay, awesome, awesome. So before we close out, let me just do my commercial. Everyone, May 18th. Please save the date, Saturday, May 18th. That is the date for the Boogie Down Bronx Book and Writing Fair. So it's a celebration of books and writing. We have authors there, always looking for more authors. We will have writing workshops for people to tell their story, hint, hint. So people to begin telling their stories and, being inspired to write. And we will have books for sale. I have an announcement actually to make about that tomorrow. Super excited about that. And also save the date for Saturday, June 8th for The Soul of a Man 3.
Oh, wow.
We see you, we hear you. And The Soul of a Man is our men's holistic healing event. Last year was really phenomenal, so we're looking to expand on that for this year. So please save the date. Bring the men in your life, your children, spouses, co-workers, someone in the street, bring them there because it's a day for the men to heal. And yes, we do plan to have sound healing on that day as
Oh,
well.
awesome.
Yes, absolutely, for people to experience that. So, thank you for sharing your journey from Christianity to consciousness. I truly appreciate you inspiring people. This was a very intriguing exploration of your journey. So thank you so very much. And
Thank you
for
so much.
yes, and for everyone watching, the replay is available on my Instagram, Bronx Holistic Healing. And also, if you want the recording of this session, you can also email me at bronxholistichealing@gmail.com, and I can send you the recording of the session. And Transformation Thursday happens every Thursday, 7:15, 7:20. Just keep watching. That's all I can say at this point. Just keep watching. Eventually, there'll be a notification that I'm live, because life is always lifing on Thursdays.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you. It was
Thanks,
wonderful.
everyone.
Yes, yes,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much.
So I
Bye-bye.
I always close with saying, if no one has told you, if you haven't heard this, if no one has told you today, remember that you are a spark of the divine. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Woo.
Ooh, wow, that was awesome. That was awesome. Thank you so very
Thank
much.
you.
I'm just, ooh, so I'm going to save this to Instagram, and then I'll have you as the collaborator, if that's okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna make sure I'm just checking who was on it. Okay, so I'm going to save it, and then I'll send you the message to set you up as collaborator. Okay. All right, thank you so much. All right, we'll talk soon.